For as long as there has been love, there's been forbidden love. But some loves are more forbidden than others. And some of them raise interesting questions. What if one love was simply questionable, but that was the only solution to a love that's deadly?
What's that? You want to be scared? Come with me. You will experience tales of horror, ghosts, and death. It is not recommended for the weak at heart. Listen in the dark. It's more fun that way. This is Weekly Spooky.
Hello, my spookies. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for a little spooky in your weekly. I'm your host and narrator, Enrique Couto, and we have quite the story for you this week. We're heading back to Strickfield, and more so, back to Strickfield High School. We were just there in June with the mini-series Prom Night of the Dead, which if you haven't heard, I highly recommend you check out. But now we're going to check in with our favorite master vampire, Bella Tabon. She's got a lot on her mind, and some of it gets pretty spicy, if you ask me. But before we get to that, I want to ask you a personal favor. If you're listening to this, and this show helps you get through your workday, or your commute, or some chores around the house, I need a favor. It's nothing major, it won't cost you a penny. Just go to your favorite podcast app, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or something like that, and give us a 5-star rating. Those ratings help brand new people discover the program. It helps so very much to make someone check out our show and decide they want to hit play. And while you're there, also make sure you're subscribed, because you are not going to want to miss what's coming down the pike, especially in October. Oh, I'm teasing it a whole lot, but October is going to be an insane time for content. So much content, in fact, that it'll be coming out of your ears, coming out of your nose, and coming out of other orifices that I don't really want to mention right now. So yeah, leave us a little 5-star rating on your favorite podcasting app. I would consider it a personal favor. And if you want to support us in a more direct way, just go to weeklyspooky.com. We have brand new merchandise and a Patreon that gets you bonus episodes, behind-the-scenes looks at all the content we create, and so much more. But now, my friends, it's about time to rev up your engines and head to Strickfield. But first, we just have a quick word from our sponsors. Suspended by Rob Fields. It was just a week ago that Strickfield High School won the state football championship, beating out Strickfield Academy in what was a rather unusual game. Yeah, people are still talking about it. It was Greg Brandlake, the big hotshot quarterback of Strickfield Academy, who ended up transforming into a demon and trying to kill Strickfield High's Eddie Pee Wee Richter. As the demonic Brandlake was ready to kill Richter for winning the game and the state championship for Strickfield High, his head exploded all over the field. The police reports say someone fired a high-powered rifle at Brandlake. No one knows who was behind it. But I'm sure the question you want to know the answers to are, Bella, you're a Strickfield High cheerleader, right? Aren't you the bitch master vampire who could have stopped Brandlake after he went all demon? The answers are yes and fuck yeah. However, I wasn't there that night. You see, yours truly wasn't allowed on school property or at school functions. Our ever-so-esteemed principal, Matthew Van Diest, suspended me from school just prior to the state championship game. In fact, it was our quarterback, Jason Norman, who got me suspended. Let me tell you about it. It was the Wednesday prior, when Aileen Donnerly and I were walking the halls of Strickfield High to get to our lockers. Both of us were wearing our cheerleading outfits since basketball season had started and we had to cheer for a game that night. 2 nights later, we would have to cheer for our football team at the state championship game. Einie and I were opening our lockers and talking about shit when Jason Norman came up right behind me and groped my tiny little titties. "You're easily the hottest cheerleader at this school, Bella," he said slyly in my ear. "Looking at you, I can tell you need a good fucking. Let's skip school and I'll take care of you." Clearly, this stupid mortal didn't know who he was fucking with. It was time to teach him a very important lesson that every red-blooded young American boy needed to know. You never put your fucking hands on me unless I want you to. "Big mistake, motherfucker," I hissed as I turned around, grabbed him, and slammed him into the nearby lockers. Norman made some serious dents across them. He got back up and came at me again. Now, people at Strickfield High call me the bad schoolgirl. One reason is they know I'm strong as fuck. They didn't know I was really a master vampire, a rare one who can walk in daylight and doesn't have to drink blood. Norman sneered to tell me he would have me, no matter what. When he tried putting his hands on me again, I lifted him up off his feet and threw him right through a classroom door. And wouldn't you know it, Principal Van Diest had seen me. Now, either he wasn't around to see Norman grope me, or he just didn't like how extreme I got. Principal Van Diest raised his voice to me for the first time ever and practically screamed for me to go to the office. He wouldn't even let me tell my side of the story. No, as far as he was concerned, I'd assaulted the star quarterback of Strickfield High. "Oh, fuck you," I told him right to his face. "It's quite all right for him to have his hands all over me, but I'm not allowed to defend myself? You know what? You can go suck my dick." The next thing I knew, he was writing up my suspension. "You do not come anywhere near this school for 2 weeks, Bella Tabon. And that means no cheerleading. You're going to learn your place here at Strickfield High, one way or another." I gave him my wicked little smile, the one that got my grandparents to start calling me Little Devil when I was younger. Then I raised my fists together and do what scrawny geek Jaron Hatley had done months ago. I brought my fists down and destroyed his desk. Boy, did he ever shriek. I don't believe he shit his pants, but the look on his face was priceless. Now we're at present time. Now you know why I wasn't at the state championship game shaking my tits and ass with the rest of the girls when the Brand Lake Demon shit went down. Sometimes I run into Principal Van Diest on the streets. He always looks worried whenever he passes me, probably thinking I'm gonna kick his ass or something. Yeah, like I'd waste my time and energy on a pathetic loser like him. But I'd bite and give him my little devil smirk. Thanks to Einie. I don't really need her to do that for me, but she's just doing her duty by me as my best friend. Martin, Aileen's older brother, calls her Einstein on the count of how smart she is. I've been calling her Einie for short. In response, she calls me Bells. It's Saturday morning, the week after the big game and Greg Brandlake's death. Martin and I have been mostly distant, pretty much since Einie and I got back from vacationing in Shore City back in June. Martin makes another one of his stupid attempts to try and talk to me before he takes off to go work at Denoyer's Grill. I'm about to let him go fuck himself when I notice Einie has that look on her face that tells me something's on her mind. Not even acknowledging Martin, I follow Einie so we can go and talk in private. Oh, I can feel Martin glaring at me as he walks out and slams the back door behind him. Well, fuck him. He doesn't deserve any of my time after Einie told me he's the main reason why she's sick. When we're alone, we face each other. "Talk to me, Einie," I say. "Am I still that obvious, Bells?" she asks in her mousy voice. "How long have we been best friends, Einie?" I remind her. She groans a little. "We've got this new hot girl at school. Her name's Lavender Collier. Everybody's just gawking at her. I mean, She's really put together. She could be Taylor Mirren's body double. I have to think about this. Okay, Einie, so you're saying she's got a hot porn star body. She wouldn't be the only one like that at school, you know. Einie tightens her fists and growls a little. Yeah, but every damn guy is practically drooling over her. She's even telling people she wants your place on the cheerleading squad. So let her fucking have it, I reply. Einie unballs her fists and points right at me. No, you don't, Bells. You're not getting away from school that easily. Especially not when Principal Van Diest is itching to put Lavender on the squad. Seriously, she's got him eating right out of her hand. Principal Van Diest always has his eyes on other girls' tits, I emphasize. Fuck, he can't even keep his eyes off my little speed bumps. Einie's really agitated now. Then she jumps up and down quickly a few times as she growls. Will you listen to me? I'm trying to tell you something's not right about Lavender. I remember Einie's my best friend and get serious. Okay. Did you see something that wasn't right with her? She calms down and nods. She kissed one of those jocks in the hallway yesterday. I mean, she really planted one on him. Then he breaks up with his girlfriend right in front of everybody. He literally became Lavender's lapdog, doing whatever she wanted. And then something clicks in my brain. Keep talking. Einie takes a deep breath and looks me right in the face. His body was found in his bedroom this morning. She hands me today's paper. Look, I read the top story about Jacob Lautner, a star basketball player for Strickfield High who was found dead in his bedroom. The cause of death was unknown, but his body looked like the human equivalent of a prune. It made me think of that science fiction movie Einie had me watch with her and her cousin Madeline about a month ago called Life Force. If you've seen it, then you know what I'm talking about here. Einie looks desperate now. Something's wrong here, Bells. Please believe me. I put the paper down and put my hand on her shoulder. I believe you. I think I may know what's going on, but I have to get a closer look at this Lavender Collier to be sure. How will you get into school? Einie inquires. You're suspended, remember? Principal Van Diest said he'd expel you if you came back before your suspension was over. I give her my little devil smile. Maybe he will, and maybe he won't. Einie gives me her worried look. What are you going to do, Bells? Monday comes, I'm back to walking the halls of Strickfield High with Einie. It's not long before Principal Van Diest passes both of us. He just looks at me the way he always looks at the bad schoolgirl. He makes it a quick point to check out my sexy schoolgirl outfit, the shirt with the sleeves torn off and tied in the front to reveal my black bra and a plaid miniskirt with my men's 80s Reebok pump basketball shoes. Some people here have joked that I'm a runaway from Strickfield Academy. Even now, I'm sure Principal Van Diest is undressing me in his mind. Just the same, he doesn't say a fucking thing about my suspension. What happened? I got Einie to distract him in the office long enough for me to slip in the way vampires do. I grabbed a hold of Van Diest and gave him a light brushing of glam to make him forget that he suspended me. Since I only gave him just a tiny bit of glam, I have to be careful not to provoke him too much. Otherwise, he'll snap out of it and remember that this little devil is his mortal enemy, and that I'm suspended. I know, why not just wipe his mind completely, right? Because my glam is quite powerful for being a master vampire. If I'm not careful with how I apply it, I can do some serious, irreparable damage to somebody's mind. I'd rather not do that shit unless someone truly deserves it. I may be a wicked little devil, but I'm not inhumane. Okay, Einie, show me Lavender Collier, I say. Einie's looking around, then she suddenly grabs my wrist. Behind us, Bells! We both turn to see she's with Principal Van Diest. Holy fucking shit! Einie's not kidding when she said this bitch is hot. I mean, she's got it all. Looks, sexy body, huge tits, and lavender hair. Thanks to my master vampire sight, I can see that it's her natural hair color, and not a dye job. I know exactly what this creature is. She's a succubus, I whisper to Einie. Think of her as being a vampire, except instead of drinking blood, she steals sexual energy from men. But why would she go after somebody like Van Diest? Aine wonders. And then Aine gasps when we see Lavender slide her tongue into the principal's mouth. You'd swear the other students passing by would have seen it, but they just act like nothing's going on. The succubus is emitting some kind of a field that makes them not see her inhaling Van Diest. The only reason why Aine and I can see her is because our minds are strong. Guess that shows a lot of these students here are just going through the motions, if you know what I mean. Aine and I both head into an empty classroom to talk. Can you stop her, Bells? She asks. I can, but school isn't the place, I answer. Lavender is very powerful. I can see it in her aura. I can't risk getting other students hurt. But why go after Principal Van Diest, Bells? He's not exactly a prize catch, right? I raise my finger. On the contrary, one thing you need to know about a succubus: she doesn't care what a male looks like as long as he's got a great deal of sexual energy. You're in the ballpark, though, when it comes to Van Diest. You just know he's not with anybody. He definitely wants to be, which is why he's checking out other girls. He's got so much pent-up sexual energy, he's just perfect for somebody like Lavender Collier. She won't take him here. No, she's priming him up. She'll likely come for him tonight when he's sleeping and dreaming about her. And that's where we're gonna be. You two! An all-too-familiar voice calls out. We turn to see Principal Van Diest standing in the doorway. He turns on the light and sees us. He points to Aileen. Get to class, now! Then he points to me. And you can tack on another week to your suspension, Bella Tabon. Damn it! That fucking succubus was able to overpower my glam with her allure. Van Diest remembers everything regarding me. He comes straight to me and grabs my arm. Normally I'd have beaten the living shit out of a man for that, but there's a fucking succubus involved. Okay, Van Diest, you get this one for free. He walks me to the main doors. And yes, every nearby student is looking right at us. He pushes open one of the doors and shoves me through it. Then he steps outside and points right at me. I'm getting sick and tired of you thinking you run my school, Bella Tabon. You need to remember I'm the principal here. Me. And then I notice he's staring me down again. Me being as scantily clad as I am can work to my advantage here. I move my hands up to my hair and pose for him just enough to where Van Diest can see my sex appeal. I may not have the glamorous body of a succubus, but there are plenty of males here at Strickfield High who would love to be mine. Are you one of those people, Matthew Van Diest? Let's just see who's got more allure here, the voluptuous succubus or the skin-tight vampire. Van Diest is just stammering his words as he keeps ripping me one new ass after another. I've already said I have little speed bumps for tits, but he's still drawn to them. He's still quite attracted to my tight body. I'm not even using glam on him. Like that fucking succubus in the school, I can wrap people so tight around my little finger, they'll do anything I tell them. So I guess you can say Lavender and I aren't that much different in that department. And that's when I see the bitch looking out and glaring at me. Now, I've never been sure whether or not a succubus or an incubus can sense a vampire. A master vampire can sense them for sure. Lavender looks ready to come outside and confront me, but she knows that's probably not a good idea. No, Lavender doesn't want people knowing what Aine and I both know. I keep turning on the charm for Van Diest. I don't even have to go full porno on him. Just showing a curve here and there, keeping his full attention on my nearly naked body. Guess bigger tits ain't always better, huh, Lavender? I'm laughing my ass off deep down. Lavender is fucking pissed at me now. Good. Come for me, bitch. And then I have a hell of a plan. I don't know if Van Diest heard the bell ring, but I sure did. Still, he's rambling on and even repeats a few things to me as he's still undressing me with his eyes. Still holding Lavender's attention, it's time to do the unthinkable. I come in close to Van Diest and lock my lips with his. Boy, do his fucking arms ever wrap me up. He holds me oh so gently to him as we share a soft kiss together. And then I hear his heart beating and realize I just made a huge mistake. You're not safe yet. Weekly Spooky. We'll be right back. I quickly back the fuck away from Principal Van Diest. Then he just looks right at me. Bella, I know, I'm suspended, I quickly reply. Getting my ass off school property right now. Then I give him 2 middle fingers. And you can go fuck yourself. Just then a teacher sees Lavender and tells her to get to class. At first she won't go, but she ultimately doesn't have a choice if she doesn't want to expose herself. She finally leaves. Knowing I did what I wanted to do in provoking Lavender, I turn and start walking away. As I turn the corner, Van Diest snatches my wrist. Now you wait just a minute! As I turn around to face him, we suddenly lock lips again. This time the kiss lasts a little longer. Then we come apart. What in the actual fuck? When I hear his heartbeat again, I have my confirmation that I truly fucked up. I know now that Principal Van Diest has desired me for a very long time. I don't mean he just wants to have hot and nasty sex with me. I mean, he wants to be with me. He's fucking in love with me. I compose myself and raise my finger. Okay, Matthew. 1, you know fucking goddamn well what we're doing is quite forbidden. Read the student handbook. 2, you'd have to decide if you want Lavender or me. And 3, it'll never work between you and me in any case. And since I'm not supposed to be here. When we hear someone opening one of the main doors and calling for Van Diest, he glances over his shoulder. When he goes to look back at me, I'm gone. Yeah, just like Batman. The little devil in me loves pulling that shit on him. But this wasn't a case of me being a little devil here. I had to get the fuck away from Van Diest. I need to think. I'm out on the football field when Aini finds me at lunch break. Bells, you okay? She asks, sitting down next to me. I shake my head. No. And you're gonna be so pissed off at me? I tell Aini everything. Her jaw drops. Are you saying, I get Principal Van Diest has a thing for you. I've known that ever since I first brought you to Strickfield High. But are you in love with him? I sigh. Aini, you know Martin and I aren't fucking anymore. Ever since your grandma talked to me about him and you told me how you got sick, there's just no way in hell. Also, I can smell that he's been fucking other girls. I sigh. But I have feelings and needs too. Go ahead, rip me some new asses. Nothing you haven't done before. Aini just looks at me and groans in frustration herself. So, what are you going to do about Van Diest? You can't just leave him for Lavender to suck up. No fucking shit, I mutter. He's a fucking worm of a man, but I have to save him. Lavender will come for him tonight. She plans to fuck him and take his sexual energy. Van Diest will end up just like Jacob Lautner if that happens. I swear, the shit you get me into, Aini. She looks apologetic now. I had to tell you, Bells. I smirk a little and pat her shoulder. I know. I'm glad you did. I just didn't expect this. I put my hands on my forehead and groan. Fuck! That night, Aini and I are hiding in Van Diest's backyard. Thanks to my night vision, I can see shit like it's still daylight. Van Diest is sitting at his computer. I recently discovered I can focus my vampire vision to zoom in on things. I can see Van Diest has the Strickfield High website up. He's looking at pictures of me. God damn it! That's what I get for attaching a piece of old bloodstone to my choker to allow myself to cast a reflection. I did it so people wouldn't see what they shouldn't. Aini's using night vision goggles she made. She's really putting that big brain of hers to use in building all these new toys we're using when we're out together. I used to tell Einie that I work alone, but you know damn well she's not going to stay put. Einie's definitely not my sidekick. No, she's my partner in crime. To be honest, I like having her around. Then I hear Einie's sigh of disgust. I don't know what you did, Bells, but you've definitely set Van Diest on fire. Yeah, no shit, I mutter. How you feeling? Can you do this? I'll be okay. And then, looks like he's getting ready for bed. Lavender will come for him once he's asleep and dreaming. He'll dream about her, assuming her hold on him is still there. I know, I did some research on succubi. I roll my eyes. On what? Wikipedia? Please. She scoffs at me. I never use Wikipedia. Give me a break, Bells. She bumps my arm. You better move. I can sense the tension between Einie and me. She knows I'm feeling something for Van Diest. I move out of the bushes and leap up onto the roof. I walk barefoot to his window and look in, making sure he doesn't see me. Even out here, I can still hear his heart beating. He still desires me more than anything. Why the fuck did I ever kiss him? He finally falls asleep. I just have to wait until he's dreaming. It's then that I smell Lavender Collier. She comes out of his closet and approaches the bed. Yes, mortal. Your energies are at their utmost, she purrs. Now I shall give you that which you most desire. In turn, you shall sustain me. Once I've fed, then you die. She's wearing a red dress and is already barefoot. She easily undoes the shoulder straps and lets the dress drop to the floor. Naked, she slithers onto the bed and lays on top of him. Wake up, my love, Lavender whispers. Take me in your arms and make me yours. I need you so desperately. Van Diest wakes up and sees the beautiful form on top of him. But then something quite adverse happens. No, Van Diest utters, shaking his head. What? Lavender shrieks. This cannot be! How have you broken my allure? Yeah, I truly drove any thought of Lavender Collier out of his mind when I let him in this morning. His love for me is powerful enough for him to resist her. I realize I can't just stay outside and observe now. I gotta fight the bitch. I burst through the window and glare at Lavender. Get the fuck off him! Right now! Lavender gets off the bed and on the other side. Then she glares at me and begins to change into her true form. She now has big horns on her head, a long tail with a very sharp point on the end, and claws. Seeing her reminds me of pictures I've seen of the Hellweaver. In fact, all succubi are her daughters. I quickly vamp out and raise my claws. You can't have him, I say to Lavender. But I shall, once I have disposed of you, she replies. Bella? What? Van Diest cries out. You're a vampire? Lavender hisses at me and raises her own claws. The two of us leap up and meet over the bed. We punch and claw at each other. I know I'm going to have a hell of a fight with Lavender. Succubi are very strong and can become quite dangerous when they're threatened over their chosen prey. I eventually grab Lavender and throw her ass out the window. Then I come out after her. I can smell where Einie is and know she's watching us fight. I'm feeling so high-strung right now. I fucking love to fight. My desire to fight really increased after I became my own unique master vampire, along with my appetite and my libido. Lavender and I attack and roll around on each other. We throw each other into things. She's really quite strong and can possibly match my strength. She hisses loudly in frustration when I won't stay down. She even tries to claw at my heart. Hate to tell you, bitch, but going for my heart won't help you in the least, I tell her. No lie, while it takes a stake through the heart and decapitation to destroy a traditional master vampire, this method does not work on me. I've been staked and beheaded twice during my existence as a master vampire. When Thornton Gillian's blood mixed with my pure Tabon blood, those many years ago, it made me something truly unique. I'm beginning to think I may never be capable of dying. Lavender and I have bled each other with our claws, though our injuries heal almost immediately. This certainly isn't your usual high school catfight either. No, Lavender knows how to fight, same as I do. Our styles differ on the count of our training. What Lavender is about to find out is that she picked the wrong fucking cunt to fight. You see, Aini and I both know how to kill these fucking things. In fact, I'm about to use one of those toys she whipped up. I have launchers strapped to my forearms. She originally made them for fighting enemy vampires. We used them to fight werewolves back in early June at Shore City. In fact, it'll be the same method we use to end the werewolves that'll end this succubus. Since I've kept Lavender from fucking Van Diest, she hasn't been able to feed. By keeping her fighting with me, she's gotten weaker. I finally get her to the point where she's desperate. When she tries to grab my head to rip it off, I hold her to me and position one of my launchers at her heart region. Lavender shrieks and then cries out in serious pain when she feels the tip of the silver stake coming out of her back. That's how you kill them. Silver. But you have to have a substantial amount of it, like in a stake. Something as small as a silver bullet can kill a werewolf, but something as big as a silver stake is what you need for killing these fucking bitches. The only exception is Hellweaver herself. Lavender falls back and tries to remove the silver stake from her heart. It's in there pretty tight, and she's too weak. "You bitch," Lavender moans. "My mother will destroy you for this." I sneer as I raise my middle finger. Your mother can make like a dildo and go fuck herself. Lavender finally dies. Then she begins to melt away, even her bones. Soon there's nothing left but residue and the silver stake. I pick it up and hand it to Aini when she comes beside me. You okay, Bells?" "Still kicking," I answer. "Okay, we can go home then," she says. I sigh. Not yet. Van Diest has seen me. He knows what I am now. I have to go back and glam him to make him forget. Aini gives me a doubtful look. "You're really going to sleep with him, aren't you?" I just lower my head. I can't walk away. He knows my secret. She and I just look at each other for a long moment. Then she turns and walks away. I want to call her out, but... Sigh. Van Diest is still in his bed with covers pulled up to his chin when I return. When he sees me, he pushes the covers down and quickly gets out of bed. He comes right to me and takes me in his arms. I'm still in my vampire form, and he's not the least bit afraid of me. We don't talk. I can tell he wants to tell me he loves me. I can feel my own feelings. I don't understand why I feel for someone like Matthew Van Diest, given what I know about him at school. In the truest sense of age, it wouldn't be wrong for us to be together. He's in his early 40s, and I appear to be 17, which was how old I was when I came to be a master vampire, back in 1889. I'm easily the older woman here. Now we share a long, deep, passionate kiss. Truly, Van Diest has loved me for quite some time. I don't know if I've always harbored feelings for him as much as I've played with him at school. He's always tried to tame the bad schoolgirl, but he continues to find I just can't be tamed. If anything, I keep him honest. But I gotta be honest with myself. As much as I'd truly love to see where this forbidden relationship would take us, I gotta pull away. I do just that after we finish our kiss. His eyes are on mine now. He's sinking deep into me. His will is mine. "Okay, Matthew," I begin. The next morning, Aini and I walk into Strickfield High together. Principal Van Diest immediately sees us and he's undressing me with his eyes. I play with him again by flipping him off and flicking my tongue for him. He just glares at me, but does nothing. I can still hear his heartbeat. He still loves me with all his heart and soul. Even my powerful glam can't remove or change true emotions. Einie nods for us to go into an empty classroom. We go in there to talk. "Bells, why didn't you pursue Van Diest?" she asks. "I know you want to." I shake my head a little. "Because you mean more to me than he does. When you walked away from me last night, it really hurt. I even cried a little. I never expected to have a friend like you. I love you, Einie. A forbidden relationship with Van Diest isn't worth losing your friendship over. I may be having emotional issues, but I'm not a fool." Einie and I come together and hug. "I love you too, Bells. And thank you for always sticking by me." After we come out of our hug, we leave the classroom and make our way to first period to start the school day. Deep down, I have the feeling it's only going to be a matter of time before something drastic happens to bring Van Diest and me dangerously close to each other once again. But not today. I hope you all enjoyed that story as much as I did. You know, I was actually kind of realizing as I read this one, I missed Bella. We'd had a little break from her story, but I really enjoy it. And I hope you enjoy Bella as much as I do, because there's many more stories coming where you never know when she might just show up for a quick bite of a hamburger. She doesn't drink blood. Gosh, you guys are so vamp-phobic. Goodness. I hope you're all having a very good week and that a little spooky in your weekly improved it, because it sure did improve mine. I've been having a very busy week, very busy weeks, lots of things going on, lots of projects coming up, and it's just been a whole heck of a lot to deal with. But you guys have been sending me such awesome emails and following us on Patreon. I really do appreciate it. And speaking of which, I want to say thank you so much to our Patreon podcast boosters. These are folks who go to weeklyspooky.com, click on Patreon, and contribute $15 or more per month to hear their names on the show. And they are Johnny Nix, Bobbletopia.com, Megan Hua, Julia Kirsch, Brent McCullough, Steve King, Karen Weemet, Jack Kerr, and Craig Cohen. Thank you all so much, and if you want to join them, just go to weeklyspooky.com, click on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you get a bonus episode, you get behind-the-scenes looks at everything we're doing here at Weekly Spooky, and of course, my undying gratitude. But speaking of the undead, I have a lot more to prepare for you all, so I bid you all fare thee well for now, and I hope to see you next time right here. So for myself, for our composer Ray Mattis, our executive producer Rob Fields, and our producer Dan Wilder, you best stay spooky, because otherwise you're going to be in trouble. So I'll see you guys next week. Until then, talk at you soon.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to find your way back next week. But for now, you are safe. Trust me.